All right. Well, I'll start it off with thank you, Dean, for joining us. And thank you, Tracie, for joining us on this video collaboration. So I know we're going to have some interesting things to talk about that deals with the Ascension. And Dean, I know you have some wonderful stories, and I know Tracie has some wonderful stories to talk about. So Dean, I'm going to let you take it off, introduce yourself. I know you're a QHHT practitioner, level 2, and I know you're out there traveling, doing a lot of traveling, and meeting a lot of people and having a lot of sessions with some interesting things that are coming up. So, all right, Dean, I'll let you take it from there.
Well, thanks, JJ. Well, my name is Dean Christopherson. I live in Minnesota, and I am a QHHT practitioner. I just started studying this year. I'm a level 2. I could never have expected it would take this course of action, go down this road. Not what I thought it was going to be when I first set out to learn this stuff. I thought it'd be more cancer. I thought that people would be lined up with cancer, wanting to get fixed, healed, whatever. And it's been, that's actually been the smallest part of it, which is surprising. It just goes to show that there's really such a huge need for this modality and all the things that we've been doing along this path. I mean, we're all probably fairly new, the same time frame, all of us coming into this. It is something new. So, yeah, it's been really exciting. And because I don't know where I'm really going, I wake up, I get a client call and say, hey, can you do this? I go out there, see what's going on. And that's typically not what it expects as well. So you show up, and then all these different things are starting to happen. But what's interesting is it's happened to all these clients. And then you talk to these other practitioners, and the same thing's happened to them. So it's kind of interesting how this is all playing out all over the U.S.
It's really playing out all over the world. Yeah,
It really is.
Yeah, but we're more accessible with the U.S. practitioners. I think we got a good circle, and so yeah, getting the feedback from the other practitioners and what they're experiencing. It's pretty amazing stuff.
I agree with you totally.
Interesting. We're going to dive into that a little bit more about your experiences too that you have. And Tracie, if you want to say anything about your information as well, you could plug it in.
Yeah, well, first I want to say Jason is also a level 2 QHHT practitioner, so don't leave yourself out of that. We'll let you feed your stuff in too. But I'm out in Oregon, and same experiences, just going into these sessions and things that I started doing this 5 years ago, maybe a little more than 5 years ago, and just took the level 2 this last August with you guys. And yeah, phenomenal things, phenomenal shifts with what's going on in these sessions from when I started to where we're at right now with what comes up in these sessions, who shows up in the sessions, when people are regressed and what's happening with those, finding people are channeling in different things that are very extraordinary and going places that are, beyond this world. And it's amazing and very healing. I just had one of my clients call the other day. She left going, I swear I made that up, which is one of the big things you'll hear with QHHT when they're done with their sessions. I think I made that all up. Go listen to your session. There's going to be something there that you can't argue. And sure enough, a couple days later, she calls me up. She's like, my shoulder pain's gone, my back pain's gone, and she's listing off all of these things that she had come in for, and they were all gone. And she said that things were shifting, like even her, different relationships, stuff like that. Things were shifting in her life. And so it was good to hear that information and get that feedback. But, so even if you're walking out the door feeling like maybe something didn't happen in that miraculous moment, just know that you're still being worked on. You're still things are still acclimating to the session, and when you keep re-listening to it, it just reinforces that. And it could be a couple days later you start noticing it, or it could be a month later and you're like all of a sudden going, hey, I don't have that anymore. When did that go away? You know, and it's like it just went away, and you woke up one day and kind of forgot you even had it. And I've had people doing that. And Dean's down there nodding his head. You've had the same thing?
No.
Yeah. So, yeah, so really, really cool experiences. Again, these are in-person sessions. And so I'm in Oregon. Dean, you're what, Minnesota, you said?
Yeah.
And where are you at,
drive
Jay?
all over. I mean, I go from here all the way down to Missouri, Arkansas. Then I'll go over to North Carolina, back up through Illinois, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. So that's kind of the loop I've been on.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about hooking up with a lot of practitioners on the west side now, across the Midwest, and then go up around Washington, and then come down maybe by Nevada, and then up through Colorado.
Wow. So it's taking you all over the place. I love it.
Dean's like a road warrior.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That truck is.
The truck's the road warrior. Love it. Yeah. So where can people find you, Jason?
I'm located in New Orleans. So if anybody's close to New Orleans or traveling to New Orleans, you could set up a session with me in New Orleans. And the easiest way to go about doing that is through my website at jasonballay.com, or my contact information. So
yeah, perfect.
The good food state.
Right now we're in king cake season.
I'm assuming we're going to put all the links in the.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, all the links to how to find any of us are going to be in the body of YouTube. Yep.
Absolutely.
So, perfect.
So Dean, whenever you're ready to dig into your experiences out there, I know you got a few stories that you've been having with your sessions and everything, channeling, light language, the healings, Ascension. So what have you been experiencing out there?
Everything. Literally everything. But it first started off, it was just the random healing session here and there, a couple things that they were dealing with emotions, and they want to get, lose weight, depression. Why do they feel this way? They don't want to be here. And so you try to figure out, okay, what's going on? That is a lot of soul searching. And you got to go back and go all these different places to find out, because those type of emotional healings, they involve so many little things. And you really don't know what the catalyst is until you get there. And I'm finding out it's none of them. It's so deep down and so far back that they don't even know where it is. But all of a sudden, you can't even plan it. You're just going through the session, and out of nowhere, a release. They just break down. They just go. They see something. They get that feeling. It comes up through them, and they can't control that feeling. So they just go into this release, and they're just bawling and crying. They're just letting it all go, which is what they're supposed to do. But you can't talk to them and get information until after. So it's kind of a surprise. You can't anticipate it happening. Normally I could take someone back, or let's say if it's healing, and then I could see this playing out, and I could feel it getting closer. I know we're here, and then all of a sudden, okay, there it is. With emotional stuff, you can't. And it was just the basic emotional stuff. So we did that, and then I started doing programming. And after one session, I just got this ringing. My ears were ringing and ringing, and I got this intuition, this thought that, you know what, not all these clients are going to get a keyword. Actually, very few of them do, because I want to control them. And some of them I want to keep up a little higher just based on their personalities. Some of them I just want to take them down and just drop them. So I don't like to use a keyword for clients like that. I do for channeling, but not for healing like that, and especially first or second timers. And what I've noticed is that all those things shifted. Now, there still wasn't physical healing. They shifted. They either had ETs, or they had some other energies that had them stuck. And that has been quite interesting dealing with that. So what I did is I started doing programming. I called it the suggestion. And instead of using the keyword, this is a key symbol. So when you get towards the end of the session, these people's their lives are indicative of ours. They're very busy. They don't have time to sit down and watch a 2-hour session. Not as much as they need to keep the healing activated. So what I do is I program them with a suggestion to keep that session activated and alive. Instead of a keyword, I have a key symbol. And I program that. Once I ask the subconscious to receive, before I bring the consciousness and personality back in, whatever I put in there, I've noticed the subconscious is doing. Because when it comes from the conscious mind of the client themselves to their subconscious, it gets filtered. And their wants and desires get diluted out. And that's why when someone sets a goal to, let's say, lose weight or quit smoking or start jogging or be healthy, whatever, it's very short-lived because it doesn't have its full impact. What happens is when your subconscious is receiving information, it groups everything up into groups. Your groups of patterns, beliefs, your behaviors, they're always in groups. Those are called paradigms. And when the subconscious is running off of paradigms, things take longer and the noticing effect is much lower. It's not as noticeable. So what I've noticed is that when I program the subconscious with a suggestion, with an individual program, one thing, it happens right away. It's like magic. It can't not. The subconscious is what makes everything happen for you. It designs and creates your relationships. It controls the amount of money you have in your life. It controls a lot of things about you. And that is one of them. So all you have to do is program that. Now, if you got healing in there, you're at the end of the subconscious. It's a highly suggestive stage. All the healing's been done. You know what you need. I can incorporate this stuff as I need it. So if this client is very busy, they're in their active life, or they're going from a healing session back into their same mundane life or same toxic environment, family situation, whatever, work situation, those things can undo that healing in no time. It's all, as quick as you fixed it, they can unfix it. And that's what happens. So I noticed that this suggestion has been giving my clients enough protection until they heal themselves above and beyond that, so they can protect themselves. And all they do is typically, and it's so interesting, I didn't tell them when. I said, just think of it. What I do is I control their vibrations, and I get them to a really high rate of vibration before I count them out of that. And that they sync that rate of vibration to the way they want to feel. Okay? And then they take that way to the way that they want to feel, and they connect that to their key symbol. So whenever they think of their key symbol, they hold that image in their mind, and all of a sudden their body goes right back into that feeling again, and they forget what was wrong. They don't let the outside circumstances control the way they feel anymore. They're back in control again. So it's been like magic for these people. Just as far as one lady, she could barely finish a 10-mile race, and I gave her one suggestion, one session, and she also has ET. Just one. She went there a week and a half later, just normal training. She won the 14-mile tough man competition. She crossed all the barriers, the fences, all the things that she couldn't do before. She even stopped at one and went back and did it again because she didn't think she did it. She did it so fast, and she's never crossed it before in her life, and she redid it. And then she did that section twice and then went to the end of the race, and she won the race. And not only did she win it, she was there 4.5 minutes sooner than everybody else.
Wow.
One suggestion. Then when she got done, at the end of that, she wasn't even sweating because I had her air supply and her muscles, her muscles were rejuvenated, and her body was rejuvenated, and her air supply was rejuvenated every minute of the race. And that's exactly what happened for her. So it's a testimonial about mind over matter when we are dealing with our own issues. But then go ahead, you can also automate that. So I thought that was just magic. So I incorporate that for the healing, and those things really stick. And then things have evolved into the Ascension maps, and we can talk about that anytime you guys want. But yeah, that's a whole nother turn that I've been guided on.
Yeah, Ascension maps. Yeah, so that's
got them today.
Wow.
Picked them up today. I think this one's mine. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's very cool.
This one's mine.
Beautiful.
So, and if you could get that closer, there is the light language in there. So, Dean, can you talk to us a little bit about the light language in the map?
Okay.
Am I holding it up the right way?
Other way.
All right, people, like this.
Oh yeah, that actually even feels better when you do it. I was like,
that's why I asked. I was like, this doesn't feel right. So
that's a map based on symbolism, and what you have is angelic light language in there, and you have galactic light language, and you have it looks like it's druid, and it's very specific. It creates biogeometrical symbols through your eyes. They get placed in your DNA. Your DNA starts healing your body from the inside out, and those are very significant. So you'll see the red writing on the far side,
right here.
On the left. Yeah, so that's that right there. But those are your chakras, and they're really interesting because most people have 7, and some show up with 8. When they have 8, we automatically know they're from a higher dimension. They got that extra dimensional chakra. So they're not only 5th dimension, they could be 6th. Yes. Starting at the bottom, that is indicative of your root. The one on the very top, that's indicative of the crown. And the way that those symbols are locked in place as they go from the bottom to the top, and that's the way you read them, it tells you exactly what's going on in their energetic system. Yep.
Yep.
That's exactly what it is. So when I look at that one right there, what that tells me, just by looking at the chakra arrangement, it says that you are very well grounded, and your sacral is leaking out a little bit, which is something. It deals with your belief, and then that goes up to your solar plex, which is great, and that goes to your heart, which is you also have a higher heart and a large portion of it, and that is also connected to your third eye, which is wide open. So you're believing the things that you're getting, the download, the things about the metaphysical, the 5th dimension, stuff that you can't prove. Anything metaphysical, you believe in it with a lot of integrity, and you act upon that. So then that goes right on up, right out straight to your crown, and right to the Holy Divine.
Interesting.
So when you see that, the whole map as a whole is supposed to invoke a feeling in you, and that feeling of yours is fun. It's on the beach, and you see the dolphins playing out in the waves. You got the beach, and you got the beach ball. Yes, and the orange is your sacral. That's the sand. That's what separates those two. All the blue stuff is your voice and your higher voice, which you really speak. You really speak true to your integrity. You don't cover your heart up. You don't cover your body up.
This is my map, everybody. Just FYI.
You're like
this is my map. He's talking about me, so
yeah.
Whether it's good or bad.
That's funny.
Yeah. And then when I look at the lines on the coming up the dolphin on the back side, you're going to see there's 5 lines that go up first by your left hand. Now over here, you'll see you have 5 lines going up.
Yeah, right here.
Yes, your 5th dimension. You've already ascended. You're here as a volunteer. You've come from the 3rd dimension. All your 7 chakras are in line, and your third eye, which is the 6th, is exactly half the distance of all the others, which is where it should be, because it's an auxiliary. It's a dimensional chakra. And then it shows that after that dark dot there, it says that you've been supported, that you've been blessed by the Holy Trinity, and that you have 4 guides supporting you. And all of this has been created by the divine. So your purpose is all that everything that you're doing here has been divinely created. So you are a volunteer. You came in for a special purpose, your own purpose. You don't have any karma. You got basically a free ticket. So what that is when you graduate out there, you go through the earth plane and you've learned all your experiences here, you graduate, you ascend, but there's nowhere to go yet. That hasn't been set up yet. Not the purpose for you. So what happens is you graduate, and as a graduate, you come back in here as a volunteer. The nice thing about that is no matter how bad you do or how terrible a time you have, no matter what happens in this life, when you go back to the other side of the veil after this life, you get your graduate status back. And then you still ascend. So that's a beautiful map. It's total sacred geometry. And when you see
so you're saying, Dean,
have the codes and the formulations, and you see what's going on with the energy in the body, but there's no geometry. It's when I start doing healing on clients, it'll just be random stuff all over the place. And then after one session, it starts to tighten up. It'll be something totally different. And then the second session after that, typically by the third one, total sacred geometry, and it shows on there, it signifies that they've ascended.
I have a question for you, Dean. Can you hear me okay? I know we're doing kind of a funny sound thing. All right. So when you're saying that he's graduated and then came back as the volunteer. Now, I know we have a lot of volunteers right now that are really experiencing a lot of, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff it feels like karma that we're all purging out. Now, my information around that is that we're doing this for the collective. So I want to find out what is your take on why are so many light workers actually feeling like they're purging out a bunch of karma if they've already graduated, and when they leave this life, they'll still have that graduate status? Well,
because they're still not aware of that yet, Tracie. They're not aware of that. When they came back in here again, their memory was wiped clean, and they're on the same playing field as everybody else, and they're not really aware of it. They haven't been woken up. I think when this last wave came through, I think the vibrations really tanked. I think the energy working against us really increased and really dropped that down, making it more difficult. So now these people come in and they have their little soul searching within their own mind, and they say, God, what's wrong? Or what's my purpose? What should I be doing? And then they realize, oh, I got all these things going on. And they feel this pressure. They want to get it taken care of because they find out, oh no, that's what they mean. This is the last time they'll have a 3D Earth experience as a human. So they need to get all this stuff cleaned up right now. And so typically, in a normal scenario, you'd have 3, 4, 5 lives or experiences to deal with a single situation, figure it out. And now we're dealing with 3, 4, or 5 all in 1 year. And I'm seeing such a heavy impact from my clients' guides and their higher self, and even the divine. I could ask anybody to come in and do anything at any aspect of it, and they're going to show up. I think they're really panicking because of that. I really do. They're up there, they're going, oh my God, what are we going to do? What do we do with these people?
Yeah.
So that's what's happening. They feel all this pressure. And it's universal, it's consciousness, because as much as we can raise consciousness, we can also excite it, and we can also depress it. So we are increasing consciousness by raising the vibration, by spreading the light or spreading the love, get everybody. Well, that can also happen on a stress level. So when you have a really large amount of people who are feeling stressed out or pressure that they need to figure this purpose out and what their agreements are, they don't even know about that stuff, but they feel like they need to figure that out. And now everybody's feeling that pressure. It's just running consciously, and no one's exempt from it. Everybody's going to feel that. I think the people that are aware of what's going on it doesn't affect them because they know, they have control of the way they feel. They understand what's going on. They're an active part of who they are and their spiritual growth, which everybody should be, because that's why you're here. Your spiritual growth.
The spiritual growth.
It's you know, that's the pressure I think everybody's feeling. They got all these issues to deal with, and which is fine. Does not matter, because we're getting all those healed up in a single session anyway.
Mm-hmm. So I know that Jason showed off those amazing maps, and people are going to be watching that, and I'm not sure we were very clear as how does somebody get an Ascension map, and what is that process with you, Dean?
Well, it's not really a process. It's something I've kind of I put together. I was working with another person who they were guided to start channeling light language and putting the stuff down on paper. And they were just channeling words. And what I noticed happening is I gave her, she needed material to practice. So I'd give her a session, and she would listen to the session, and she was drawing this stuff out. It was coming through her. She doesn't even know how to read this stuff. She just, that stuff, she doesn't know how to read that. And she doesn't know what the picture is going to be. She doesn't think of nothing, that nothing's methodically done. All she does is sit down and allow. And it just, most of it is like this. She's not even looking. And it really impressed me, because we were driving down the road. We were going to Iowa City once, and to talk to some higher priests about some of the codes in there and what it meant, the grounding and the ETs and the Holy Trinity and how that all went together symbolically in the maps. And that she was driving down the road, bumpy. I was hauling tail, and she would just,
that was you.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
So anyway, what we realize is that if whatever she's listening to, she's taking the frequencies from your voice and channeling those. They go up through her when she hears those, and the information comes back down from the divine to her higher self and through her, and they would give her healing codes for whatever she was listening to. So we changed our intent, because I had a large amount of my clients now were dealing with these issues that were their higher self said. He came through one time, we were arguing, and I never get into an argument with them, and because I still wanted them healed. And they said, well, why does it matter? And I said, what do you mean, why does it matter? They said, they're not going to send anyway. And I said, well, how do you know that? And they said, well, because I know. I said, oh, right, okay, so let's just not fix them because they're not going to ascend anyway. And they go, well, that's not what I'm trying to tell you. What I'm trying to tell you is that as long as you're here, why don't you get them to ascend? And I said, well, how am I going to do that? They said, use your intent. I said, what am I intending? They said, to get the codes. And I said, you mean I can get the codes to heal them for their ascension, to clean up and purify their energy pores for ascension? And they said, yes. I thought, well, you know, who would have thought? I mean, it's too easy. So we changed our attention, and I called those the Ascension maps. We
make it hard, don't we? We try to make it hard, and it really isn't hard. Once we can shift out of that being hard. So you were saying that it was as easy as setting an intention, and that we make it too hard. And I was agreeing with you that, are you hearing me okay?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, I was just agreeing with you that we do make it way harder than it has to be. It's really about changing your thought and letting go of your attachment to a belief system. We've all been programmed over the years to believe a certain way, and that things are hard and you got to work to get this. And it's like, really, it's just let go of that belief, and it's there for you. It's really just there for you. So one of the things that we didn't really talk about is this Ascension session things really kicked in for both of us, as far as this is part of the purpose of having this conversation today, is that we're all finding, or at least us three are finding, that this thing of activating people on the Ascension is becoming a next phase or a next step of what we're learning with our QHHT and what's coming in for us. So that's kind of exciting that we're getting that as a collective to bring it into the Ascension levels and bring in those codes. Because I was getting the same thing, bring in the codes, bring in the upgrades, and in the session. So.
Absolutely. And I got to tell you one thing, though. I really appreciate when you put your stuff out there like that, because no one else was talking about that. And I couldn't understand why I was experiencing that. And so when I heard about the energy work that you were doing, also to help clear these people for their ascension, I thought, this woman is brilliant, because why wouldn't you?
Yeah. I mean, and that all just came in our own downloads, in our own wave of codes and clarity. So yeah, that's
the big picture. It's not about healing cancer with light, and it's not about messages. People don't even have karma with themselves, and they don't even know that. That's not why they're here. They think they're here to resolve their karmic issues, and they need to go through these terrible times and be depressed and have pain and lose love. No, you already did that. The problem was you never forgave yourself. So you got to come back to do it again so you can learn how to forgive yourself. You're supposed to let that go and release it. You went through, you had these experiences. It put you into that. You crossed the other side of the river. You went through the experience and you never came back. And the only way to get you to come back is put you through it again. And eventually, repetition is the mother's skill. You're going to get used to it and used to it. You're going to be a little more. It's going to have less and less impact on you, to the point where now you understand that, you know what? I'm not going to let that stop me. I am whole. I am who I am. I am powerful. I mean something. I have a purpose. And that was just something that I wanted to learn. It doesn't define who you are as a person. So all these things that people think they're still trying to resolve as a form of karma in this lifetime, it's not. They've already done that before. They need to learn to heal, which is they got to come through this again, and they're given the messages to say, hey, you know what? I get it now. I wanted to do that. I wanted to learn that. I learned it. It's not going to become a part of me anymore. You learn how to release it, and you get back to the heart center, and you get focused back on who you are. You don't be a part of that toxic environment. You get away from that. Go back to who you were before that incident happened, before that experience happened. That's what it is. They try to, there's two things. They are going to push you as far from source as they can to see if you can find your way back. And you're going to do it also. You're going to have these experiences, and you have to, because there's duality in this universe, and there's polarity. Every time you have a right, you have a left, you have a top, a bottom, in and out, front, back. Whenever you get rid of one, you get rid of the other. And that's just the way this universe is built on. So when you look at it at the big picture of ascension, you have 100 things that you need to do. 50 of them are just going to be terrible experiences, and 50 are going to be wonderful. And that's just the way it is. So you have to learn those, because as human beings, we have a hard time knowing what something is by looking at it directly and dealing with it directly. We only typically know what something is based on what it's compared to. Does that make sense? And that's how we look at things. So there's no more karma. No one ever had karma with themselves to begin with. You have karma with other people. And yeah, a couple hundred years ago, you only maybe had 5 or 6 people in your life that you really knew, but there wasn't a lot. And as we generate more karma with the people we interact with, then those come back into the place, get bigger and bigger, to now here we are with 30, 40 people. But you never had it with yourself. What you've had with yourself is forgiveness. You have to forgive yourself for that happening, and for carrying it for so long, and for judging yourself, for blaming yourself, for shaming yourself, for making it your fault. And that's what this is everyone right now on earth here is to forgive themselves, not figure out the karma. So that is something that's got to be worked out. So forgive yourself, and the rest will start to work, and you'll see that harmony.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. So one of the things Dolores said was, everyone is an actor in your play. And I love it, because it really reinforces that what you are releasing or what you are learning is being mirrored to you by all the people around you. So being the actors in the play, you know, what is my experience right now? Why is this happening? You don't look outside yourself. This person's doing that to me. It's what is being shown. What am I being shown right now? And looking at what is the experience going on around me. And I know a lot of people won't want to hear that because they don't like what's going on around them, and they don't want to know that this is because there's something within that they need to look at. But you really do need to go explore what belief system, what judgment, what old wound do you have that's being shown to you right now that you can go in and release and change your mirror. You know, change the actors in your play, or at least how they're acting, you know, and how much control we actually do have in all of that. So when she said that, it was so brilliant. And that's one of the things I always love about Dolores is some of the real catchers that, you know, that have helped me through a lot of different things going on in my reality where I'm like, if that's an actor in my play, why is this happening? You know, what is it I need to reflect on and heal in order to shift this situation? So, yeah.
It also goes back to when Dolores, about the actor and everything, they said it's like a show, like a screen, like the curtains revealed.
Yeah.
And now you see the show and the actors. And it makes sense because, you know, we're here to experience a 3D experience. So to have that experience, it's like you're playing your part and this person's playing their part and you're living this 3D experience. So.
Yeah. Very true. And you'll notice, if you're paying attention, you'll notice that your behavior will be different with everyone you come in contact with. So you have...
I believe it.
Yeah. So when we're interacting, the energy that is being mirrored between each other is activating the response out of the other person. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be whatever mirror you need me to be, that your energy activates that in me and vice versa. Does that make sense? And so...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can tell, like, if you're getting a positive response from someone, a negative response, negative energy, positive energy.
Yeah.
You can pick up on those vibes. Absolutely. And it can mess around with your energy and your vibes.
Yeah. How many times have you said something or played something out with somebody where you're like, what did I do? And you have no idea what you did, but the energy from the other person activated a response out of you that was a mirror for them. And then they went into response. You know, they went into their old wound or whatever it was that needed to be triggered. And you could be sitting there going, what did I just do? What did I just say? You know, but that's the way it works. That's the way the universal law of it works. You know, my energy will activate from those around me what I need to heal, and it'll be shown to me. So, or vice versa. If, you know, we're all in a really good place, then we're all activating each other in a really positive way and amplifying each other and bringing that energy up. So, I mean, it works. It just is universal. It works. So that's why they're all actors in your play. The response you're getting from somebody is a mirror for something. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'll add something to that. Even though they're the actors in your play, that is exactly how it sounds. It's your play. Everyone in their life, it's their play.
Their play, yeah.
And they need to understand, though, at a deeper level, that one of the 3D constructs is to think that other people have an effect on how we feel, and they don't. They never have. They're just a mere reflection of what's going on in yourself. You have an agreement with them for them to come to show you how you're judging yourself, how you treat yourself, how you like yourself, how you hate yourself, how you love yourself. Mm-hmm. That's it. We have an agreement. The agreement is for them to come to show you that. So somebody who considers himself an enemy or a mud maker brings a lot of grief into the family dynamic. Those people are really doing a good job, because they're there. They came a long way, and they perpetually show up to show them how they're judging themselves.
Yeah.
And that's where everything is shifting. And that's what's so important about the Ascension map. And it's going to have to sink into the consciousness and the minds of humanity pretty soon, because the second energy wave of the second Earth, the energetic barrier of that is already overcome this. It's here. And on certain nights, what I'm really seeing is reflections in these clouds of what's going on the new Earth already. It's in the energy already. It's there. It's manifesting. And that's what she said. We're here to manipulate energy. And that's what I do. And you can do that with your mind. So what I've been really reinforcing with my clients is this, is that nobody exists in the world but them. Everything that's coming to them, all the situations and all the people are mirrors. Love them how you will. Consider them siblings, family, whatever. They're mirrors, and they're reflecting to you of how you're treating yourself. So you need to work on that. And the moment you understand that, that's where the unconditional love comes in. And it's going to be very important, because if anybody thinks they're going to be able to stay in the 3D Earth or universe or construct, it's not going to work, because it's riddled with control, it's riddled with fear, and it's been the bane of society for thousands of years. They've used it to manipulate and control. It happens in couples. I see them in the stores. I see it all over the place. They're controlling each other with love. That's not what that was designed for. It's not why it's even there. But they use the very best thing that we have as humanity, the very essence of who we are, and they use it to control each other. One person will say, I love you to the other one, and they'll say, oh, I love you back. And then it makes them feel good. And now they get into an argument, and she says, well, I love you anyway. And he walks off and doesn't say nothing. So now he just made her feel bad. So he's controlling her. So she goes to him and says, you know, that hurt my feelings. You know, when you just walked away, you should have said I loved you. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry, I love you. And now she feels good again. So now she's controlling him. So they just continually control each other. When the truth of the matter is that you don't need the other person. They don't need you. You have everything in you. You always have everything you're ever going to need. All the money, all the love, all the attention, all the fun, everything you have within your energetic being, your body. And the moment you realize that you're responsible for making you feel the way you want to feel, not somebody else, things are really going to shift. And if you don't wake up to that mindset of that, you're going to start getting things stripped from you. And you're going to be separated, and you're going to be isolated, and you're going to learn another very hard lesson. I would dig into some of this stuff and understand about that. What do they really mean by you're going from a love base to unconditional love? You still love them. It doesn't mean that you got to now love your spouse as much as everybody else. It doesn't mean that at all. But you're coming into this with the intention of the unconditional love.
Right.
And you have no right to impose expectations on other people. Set them up for yourself. And that's the problem with love in the 3D, is you use it to control people to come into your life, and then you impose so many expectations on that person that can't live up to them. And then it falls apart. So that's really what's been happening with a lot of relationships and why things are going to change. And they have. I see it played out all the time. And this is tons of this information is coming through the sessions. And I'm watching people shift on their own. I'm seeing it. At the very same time, I'm seeing two energies here. And from everything that I've learned by dealing with energies and machines that produce energy, I spent 30 years now working on machines and trying to get a hold of the concept that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be converted. So I've always been wanting to convert mass into energy, which is it could produce a ton of energy. But through that mindset, I came across a saying that Einstein once said. He said, they asked him, is it possible that we could have free energy? And he said, well, On paper, he found one area where it does exist, but he doesn't know how to get it. He said that there seems to be free energy somewhere that lies within the difference in potential between two axes. And the moment he said that, instantly knew what he meant. And that's what's happening. We have two energetic systems going on right now here on Earth. And it's the difference in the frequencies between the two that create motion. And so we're seeing things and we're feeling energy, and we're being more telepathic, clairvoyant. We're channeling, we're hearing. I mean, for Pete's sake, I did a map for a lady 2 days ago. The guy lives in Peru. I talked to her on the phone. I get her voice message, her frequencies. I sent them to him in Peru. He goes ahead and draws up a channel. He draws up a map for her based on her frequencies. He sends her the map. She starts looking at it. She starts vibrating, feeling really good. Can't believe it. Calls me up all excited. And then 4 or 5 hours later, I get an email from her with an audio text. And for the next 45 minutes, I listened to her talking light language. She's never done this before. She didn't know. Mm-hmm. It was amazing for her to go from never doing it, never even thinking about it, to all within an hour and a half, fluently speaking light language. So that's what's happening. This stuff never happened before. Yeah. But the frequencies are so strong and the energy is so powerful. We are manifesting everything right now as we think of it. So when we keep looking at what's wrong in this world, we keep creating it. So people need to start changing their perspective on things, because that happened to me, and that actually was the bane of my dark soul of the night. I was crawling out of that, and I was like, I kept looking for all these things that people said were here. They were negative vibrations. They were down low. They were dark. They were creatures. They were all this stuff existed. It was in the energy grid, and was expressing itself through the energetic pictures I was taking. And when you take live photos, what that is, it's a video at the same time there's a picture. And when you take a photo and you put it in your camera, it's energy. It doesn't change. It's not like printing out a Polaroid. That's finished. So over the course of the next couple of days, based on the intentions and the convoluted energy in that environment, if you had enough ultraviolet or infrared behind where you're taking the photo, it would express that. And then you sit there and you watch it on your phone, and over the course of the next 3 or 4 days, that photo keeps changing. It keeps changing. And it's just amazing that how all of a sudden you'll take a picture of nothing, and then tomorrow you look at it, there you see it starting to form. The next day it's becoming more clear, and now you realize it's a photo, it's a memory, it's an energetic memory. And it's taking place where the energy is the highest. Right here. Yeah. Because that's all energy. We're not storing a photo, we're storing energy. So this is all proof that all of this stuff is starting to fold and it's raveling, and just at the rapid pace that it's going, I do feel that something is getting close. I don't know what. Maybe another shift in consciousness. Maybe another group of people going to get cleaned up and prepared, for their ascension, because that's everybody's ultimate goal, is to get not you, but your higher self, your spiritual being, get that one to ascend. You're here as a representative for that person. They're not here for you. So as we clean up our energy system and our chakras, you're making that person up to very happy. And they've also played a big hand in this and guiding you to that, if you're listening. And I think nowadays with this energy getting so strong, it's hard not to. Yeah. So that's really what's going on, is they're trying to prepare everybody for ascension. It's not just your local healing anymore.
So Dean, in your sessions, and Jason also in yours, have you guys noticed, this is one of the other things as I'm doing the ascension piece to the sessions, is I'm not just healing the vibration of, say, Dean in this body. I'm healing the vibration of all aspects of Dean through dimensions, time, space, all, you know what I mean? All the different aspects of who you are, from the oversoul, from lifetimes, from all of it. It just goes in and it clears the energetic field of all the lifetimes, all of the aspects, all of the dimensions, realities that are playing out. Are you noticing that as well?
Absolutely. And you just hit the nail right on the head. And this was a very clear message that I got through, that you have all your chakras, okay? And your chakras, based for where you are, coming now is just this this level of a human being in a 3D. You have the 7 chakras. And as people start to evolve towards the 5th dimension, and they become 4, everyone's pretty much at 4th dimension right now. They got 1 foot in 3rd and 1 foot in 5th. And some of these have multiple dimensional ports, energy ports that have opened up in their aura. And most of them, ultimately, they're going to be at 12. But if you're in the middle, yes, you can access those. But here's the interesting, what you said, and this is what was explained to me. Every one of your energy ports is not only an energy port for your energetic body, but that's also a direct portal into another dimension where you have another you living out another life. And that's how that person in that life is getting their information from you, and you're getting yours from them. And that's how you're helping each other. And so now your solar plex, that's going to another life. They're getting that information, the lessons that you learn, deal with that, benefits them. So on and so forth. So really, you at all times are existing in 12 dimensions. Yeah. So to take it even one step further than that, and this is the light bulb that got turned on, what you just said is, when you're healing me, I'm here as a certain type of person, a certain type of healer. I have agreed to do something, and I'm going to be guided to that. And no matter if I don't want to do that or not, doesn't matter. They're going to pick me up by the britches, bring me back, and they're going to make me do it.
Yeah.
And eventually I'm going to do it, because I'm going to have a terrible time to where that's going to seem lovely, and I'm just going to do it. So I do in my group, by me purging my 3rd dimensional beliefs, get rid of all that, move to an unconscious, an unconditional form of belief system with love, respect is across the board. The rocks, the trees, the water, the air, the people, your neighbor, your families. Everything's unconditional. In order to get there, you have to release and purge your beliefs from what you used to have in 3rd dimension. They don't belong in 5th. You can't get there if you still have them in you, actually. So as a part of this play, I am purging. Other people ain't being forced to do it yet. They're still trying to figure out what their karma is, and they don't have any. They're supposed to be forgiving themselves, and that's it. That's their agreements. So as they're forgiving themselves, I've already done that before. So now I'm here to help raise the vibration and keep larger groups moving forward. Keep everybody steered, keep everything moving, bring the information out, expose it, let everyone know what's going on. And I'm healing thousands of people through my consciousness. They're tapped into my consciousness mind. So Tracie, you come along and you're helping me now, and you're healing me, and you're healing those thousands of people that I'm healing. So the moment you start working on me, you're tapped into me, and now you're tapped into everybody that I'm tapped into. And it just goes to show you how exponential this is and how powerful we really are.
It's incredible. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I really like what's happening, because it brings a lot of clarity and a lot of truth. It was hard to get to that point now, but then when you see that, it's just so very simple.
It's very simple.
How could you not exist that way?
Mm-hmm.
You know, everywhere I went, the things I did, I was always judging myself. I was judging other people, and all of that stuff is gone. And you just basically get to focus and focus on yourself, and you actually get to enjoy some of the very things that we're here for, the things that we want to experience, instead of being stuck into the terrible time.
Right.
So, yeah, it's an amazing time. The Ascension is a big thing, and there's going to be a lot more coming on, and that is changing day to day. I have 2 more sessions tonight after this, and they're both dealing with it. I got them 2 maps, because they went ahead and burned up the first one by vibrating, doing light language, and they just fried themselves over the past 2 days. So I went ahead and had 2 more made up just to see how they change.
And we're hungry for it. We just are. We're ready. We are ready.
Dean, I have a question for you. For the people that's going to be watching this video, what is your definition of ascension? Like, what does ascension mean to someone that comes across this video for the very first time? When you say ascension, what does that mean?
It means almost exactly what it sounds like, ascending. You're ascending. That means you're moving on. Your spiritual being, as it's been evolving through the universe for your whole existence. You may go back 1,000,000 years. You may go back 180,000 years. You've existed that long. And as you increase your awareness as a conscious energy, and then you become a conscious being that is energy, and then you start incarnating into other aspects of life force out in the universe, and you have all those experiences. When you get to a certain level of knowledge, then you are you qualify to come into Earth, and that's a big deal, because Earth is where you really do have free will. Out there you don't. That's fifth dimension out there, and tapped into all the other dimensions. And the number one thing about fifth dimension is that they all have telepathy. They can all read your mind. They don't speak. That's why you see a lot of these aliens and ETs and EDs. They don't have mouths, or they're very little, but they never use them. They just think, and they have thoughts just like the way the light language is formed. And so everyone knows what you're thinking. So you really got to be careful out there. So there's no privacy. So to be able to get to a certain level of knowledge and experience as your own independent conscious being, you get to break away from that, come into Earth, and have some privacy and try something different, feel things on a denser level. And it's wonderful. So you go through that, and eventually, if you do that long enough and you run its course, there's nothing left to learn. And it's not that you really did live all the experiences individually, but you did, because there's two things that's happening. You can come in here to have a life. And let's say I wanted to come here and I wanted to have a life of, to be a supporter for a family. And anything can happen there. You want to be a provider, you want to have a family, kids and a wife, the American dream, have a house, have a nice job, career, set up retirement, and spend time with the grandkids. And a myriad of things can happen. So if you are coming into that aspect of experiences as a spiritual being, they'll give you imprints, energetic imprints and downloads to say, okay, well, if she turns out to be this kind of person and you have a little friction here, she decides to leave you and you got the kids, we're going to give you an energetic experience or a life that says that, okay, this is what you do. And it builds and develops your intuition. It gives you an automatic knowing. So you can get many, you can maybe get 100 imprints for every life you come in here. So, but eventually you're going to run out. And the thing is that, like, right now there's probably currently 1,500 people on Earth that think they were Marilyn Monroe. So which is the right one?
I had one.
Oh, no.
Well, the truth of the matter is they all are. Because there is no difference consciously between a real life experience and an imprint.
Mm-hmm.
So you exhaust it. You've done everything there is here, and you graduate, okay? So everyone's been kind of waiting for this new 5D Earth to come out, because that's the way it used to be, but no one's ever got to experience that. It was 5D to begin with, and it slowly sank to 3D with all the manipulation, the lies, the control. But now we're getting back to that. So what this is about is, as you go through all these lives, just a fractal of that energy from your spiritual being comes down and supports you in that life. This body can't handle all that energy. So just a fractal comes down. So you have all these fractals of all these different people that you've been, they all go up at the end of the life, and all that information, all those experiences get added to your higher self's repertoire of life here on Earth. And this is the last time, the last year that we are going to get as human beings to resolve your forgiveness or any karma you have with other people, because you still have to deal with it. But the thing is that the energy frequencies start increasing so high. I'm getting the message that they're really at the tail end, they're chasing that. And it's out of control, because what's happening is with all of our pollution, our ozone, which is considered the veil, that's the separation between 3D and 5D. The pollution is eating away at the ozone. All of the solar radiation is coming into Earth, and it's speeding up all the organisms, the microorganisms. Things are speeding up quicker. When you increase the energy or you increase the heat, things go faster. It's a microwave effect. So as all the organisms on Earth are increasing and going faster, that means the frequencies for Earth are increasing and going faster. And the higher dimensions you go, you can't get there unless you increase your frequencies. So that's what's happening. It's just a byproduct of pollution. So our ozone's getting thinner, the solar radiation's coming in, all the universe radiation, things are speeding up. And because we're on Earth, we're connected, we're all within, we live and exist within all of her energy grids. So many different energies that we don't even know how they exist, that we're encumbered with it. We're in that sea of energy, that ocean of motion. And if the Earth's frequencies are increasing, so are ours. Mm-hmm. And when ours increase, that is what starts to send us up. So they can't allow anybody to come back in here that needs work. You have to be experienced, you have to be a graduate, and you have to have mind control. You got to be able to control your mind. And this is step one right now, is moving from a 3D control-based love into a 5D unconditional, unexpectational love. And that movement right there will get you there. So as you start to understand, forgive yourself, release all these other people you think you have karma with, when that happens, your energy starts to balance and it stabilizes and it calms down. When that happens, it normalizes the energy going in and out of all your energy pores, your chakras. So when that happens, that sends a frequency back up to the divine, up, back out to space, the universe. No matter where we walk and where we go, we always have a constant radio signal coming down through us. It's called a frequency. And it's just like your radio. It's sitting there, it's not on, you don't hear nothing, but if you turn it on, you go to the station, you can hear rock and roll. You turn it to a different frequency, you're gonna go to country. So that's exactly what we are. We're radios. And we always have the frequencies there. Doesn't mean they're working, doesn't mean that we're understanding them, but they're there. And if we have our energy ports, if we're not on the right channel, or we got distortion, or we're in an area where we're not picking up the signal, it's just going to be static. And that's pretty much where a lot of people are right now. If you have these issues where you're not forgiving yourself, or you got karma with other people, it creates static. And there's no one up there watching anybody. It's not, they're like, well, did they see me do this? That's not the way it works. They are reading our frequencies daily. That's how, when you go back, they have a record of every second that has ever happened in your life and everything you did in it, and even all of your thoughts based on your frequencies. So this is where grounding comes into play there. As you're getting these frequencies coming through the top of your head, because it comes from the top down, they go through your body, they go through all these energy ports. Then in order to, if that all happens right, then it goes down through you into the ground, and it goes right to the center of the earth. You have to hit the earth, and it's got to ground. If it's not grounded properly, it's not going to get that feedback going back up, because they need that. It's a constant going up and down. They send you information, and they say, oh, how you doing here? You get the information back. They say, oh, let's adjust this a little bit. Let's do this over here. Let's do that. They adjust your frequencies. They send it back down to heal you, get you back on. You know how to deal with the stress. You know how to deal with that problem. You know how to enjoy these good vibrations. It tells you your body how to heal itself. It gives you intuition and guidance on what you're supposed to be doing. So these frequencies are very important. Well, if you unplug the radio out of the wall, break one of the prongs off and then plug it back in, nothing happens because you broke the circuit. And that's what happens when you're not grounded or rooted. You don't have that push polarity send the frequencies back up to source. And they really need that because they're relying on that to get you your next downloads and your next upgrades. So there's two ways of doing it. You can either understand your forgiveness and let it happen, get rid of all the karma, or free those people, turn them loose, tear up the contract, love them, release them. When you do that, that's one way that you can clean up those energy ports. The other is to come on in and just put a code in there. And you can put the code in there. When you clean it up, they instantly switch over. They start loving who they are. They like who they are. They see that they're brilliant. They see they're powerful. They see that they don't need to rely on other people to enjoy the way that they want to be. They don't have to continually negatively think about someone like they're going to pay them back for wronging them. All that stuff just fades. It goes away. They shift. But the important thing is that the universe source gets your frequencies back, and they say, okay, when it's the right frequency and it's crystal clear, and they can read all of your energy ports in its own radio, your full radio stations, and they're all going back up, they say you've learned your lesson. You figured it out. And that's when they go ahead and they grant you your ascension status. So that's why it's very important. You don't need the maps. You can just use your intention. Mm-hmm. You can, and that's what I'm dealing with right now. I came into a situation where I'm releasing the control over a certain aspect of those maps, and I'm relying on my intuition, and I'm bringing more people into it with other forms of modality. I'm going to continue to evolve that and get everybody a piece of the action and let them really express their true talents and their light language abilities, their fifth dimensional powers, and start healing people on a much larger scale. Because when you take these maps that are produced, and whether they're in a one solid symbol, it's all in one with all your chakras in there, or it's laid out in a symbolic map with each individual code for each individual chakra. When anybody looks at that, they're all getting healed. So my goal is to get them placed out there for people to go through these and see them, because everyone who looks at them is going to get healed of the same thing that the person did that had that map, if they have that running in their program. And you don't know if you do or not. I don't know if Jesus would know this one, because all the stuff that is being expressed, when I'm getting the codes coming out on these certain maps, the codes are written from the realms where they generated this karma. The magic realm, dragons, fairies, leprechauns, the druid realm, the angelic realm, the galactica realm, even though ETs don't exist, all these different realms, and they have their own code. Even the ETs have their own code, and they are doing their humanoid collective partners, soul members, good. They're propelling them. They're helping them. They're keeping them on track. They're guiding them. They are their guides. So everything is shifting. And all these things from way back when, a long time ago, 2 Earths ago, are still running in our energetic fields. They're way down there. They're super fine, super minuscule, just little frequencies, but they're there. And they distort and disrupt the higher frequencies. And they know they're there. They pick up on them. When they're channeling these languages from realms that existed millions of years ago, that the channeler has no idea how they're supposed to be drawn. They don't know what they are, or even what they say. She just gets an internal feeling of what it is, and that's proof enough. You can't make that stuff up. So that's all came to the tip of the pencil. It's sharpened. We're at the very tip of that right now, and this is where it's at. This healing is in some of these sessions coming out not near as important for these clients as them cleaning up their energy, because it never was about the lessons. You wanted to learn the experiences, but after the experience, you were expected to come back to find out who you were again, but people got lost in themselves. So that was the reason to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it, because you need to understand that in order to fix up that energy. or you just fix the energy. If you fix the energy, you don't need to learn that. You already lived it. The moment you fix the energy, you're going to forgive yourself. And you're going to forgive everybody else. And they're getting healed as well. And when you do that, all the people in your play, they just have to do it to themselves. Even if they don't forgive them and release them, if they just heal themselves, they're going to help heal the other person, lift them up so they can heal themselves. They don't need to heal anybody else either. If they heal themselves, they're going to have love and compassion for the other person. They don't need to release them. Mm-hmm. Simple.
Interesting. I would like to add one thing if anybody's thinking about the Ascension map process, but I will like to say to have this done, to have your Ascension map done, every map's unique. Every map is unique to the individual, and every map is unique to the session as well, I would say. But it was very easy. It was only 20 minutes of me on the phone with Dean, and he was asking me basic questions of my past, my family, just about me, very basic. And then it was something for him to record the voice and get the tones and the vibration into the recording so he can have these maps produced. So if anyone's ever interested, it was a very easy process to go through. It was only like 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Let me add something to that, JJ. The really interesting thing about that and that aspect is that, you know, yes, the subconscious is healing. It's very prejudiced. They say it's the all-loving. Yes, it is, but it is also the one that punishes. Pushes people downstairs, breaks their shoulders, it trips them, they break their legs, they break their hips. Something to set them down to give them a break. They are held by certain agreements as a representative of you. They got to keep you within that so you understand what it is you're here to do. That's one aspect of a healer. Another one is the divine. Once you have those codes, they come from the divine. Like what I did with so many people so far. I just got their audio, sent it in, had the map done. They give me the map. I can apply the codes with my intention over the phone to them and heal them right from here and ask. They could be right where they are, and I'll have the divine come down, and they'll go through them right then and there. They'll have them over the phone, Ascension ready. That doesn't always mean that you're going to get to a certain level of physical healing where there were messages in the body, because those things are going to start to, they'll fade away as time goes on. Because like I said, this works from the inside out. But they're going to sense right away that you're Ascension ready. But you don't need to be in that theta state of trance to get the divine power to come down and help fix or heal somebody. Anytime they come, you want them to come down, they'll come down right now. And just you put the codes in that person through your intent. You see it happening, and then you release that person to them, have them come down, and they always say the same thing. They get surrounded from all the way around them by this light, comes in, and some people just, I think, their level of fear or their level of belief or their level of love, they see different things happening around them. This light goes right in through their body and then does all this stuff. They actually see these vortexes that go from dimension to dimension in their dimensional chakras and their other chakras as you're on your between the body and their aura. They actually see these vortexes open up and different colored lights go through them, the energy, and then it changes the way they feel. It alters their vibration, and it alters it permanently. So it's a really powerful aspect of healing that can be done instantaneously without requiring a session or to be in trance. So I've been applying these before the sessions, first of all, so I can unblock, release any of these clients that have a lot of problems. This wipes it out. Every time I've applied these codes to a client right before the session, picture perfect session, the way you would expect it to be. No blocking, no resistance. They go right into the releasing. And on a few occasions, I get the healing done by the 15 minutes into the session, right in the first life experience. They don't waste no time. They just come right down on their own. I don't even ask them, and they just start doing all this stuff. And they're like, I just tell me what you see happening. I guess I don't matter anymore. They come down, they fix them up, and I go to the subconscious. I got their questions, and that's it. I don't even get to have them do any healing. It's all done. So it's just amazing how the dynamic of that is all shifted. You know, we used to think, well, it's got to be done like this. It's got to be done like this. I mean, we really, we just impose restrictions on ourselves. And just let go and allow them trust what they're trying to guide you to do, and just follow that. You know, who's to say that that's not the right way? Who's to say that what we're doing right now is the only right way? I mean, these are pieces
every day
of
it changes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I see that. So I would expect it to keep changing, you know, and I do. Because the healing's both for them and you. You're going to get a certain aspect of that. You can't not. The same with that map. You get a map like that, and I get that map produced for the client. It's going to heal me and the client. And that was really kind of why I've had such a really rough time in the last 3 months with like emotions and stuff. I couldn't figure it out. Every time I'd leave a session, 2 hours later, man, I'd crash and burn, and it was the epitome of yuck. I'm like, what in the world would happen? And then it dawned on me that I was purging, I was healing, I was releasing. And then as I kept doing these sessions and pushing further, 50 sessions down the road, I'll tell you what, I feel like I could fly.
Nice.
I go on very little sleep, and I feel wonderful all day. So I know that all that stuff has been healed. I'm not carrying that extra garbage around. It's not working in harmony. We're flowing down the river, not trying to paddle up it. So it's just amazing when you get to use the divine to come in and do the healing. So, I mean, when I heard Tracie talk about that as well, it's just like, finally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an incredible experience. I love being the facilitator for those because, you know, we're all receiving the healings, and it's just expansive. And like you said, it's touching not just our lives and the lives of the client, but it's rippling out to the lives that we touch outside of that. So
yeah, exactly. And I see a lot more, and I'm very grateful to be in this position, to be seeing this stuff unfold firsthand. You know, I don't really know what I'm doing, but it must be something right, because this stuff keeps getting expressed in the way that it is. And this is all new stuff. And the one thing that I'm getting is that it's got to be exposed. You cannot use it to control your own dynamic and build your own business. It came to you to go through you, and it's got to keep getting out. It's got to be put out there for everybody. And the sooner everybody does that, the sooner everybody gets Ascension ready. And that's what I think the big push is. And people are getting nervous. They don't know why they feel stressed out and they're nervous. Anxiety, relationships are falling apart every day because of that. And Jason brought up an interesting point today. New energy, old energy. And I can look back and reflect on a couple of scenarios where if I was to take a look at their the way each person manipulated their own energy, the beliefs that they had, I think he's right. He's onto something. You're mixing old energy with new energy. And that was okay for a while, but now that the frequencies are increasing, there's too much friction. They just go their own way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If it doesn't work out, then that's just old energy, old way of doing things. So that's some of the reasons why people go to separate paths.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And now, if there's any channelers out there that are into the light language, that also is an evolution process. Anybody can do it. Anybody. Mm-hmm. Because when we first started this, I was setting and planting my own seeds for my artist, unbeknownst to her. I knew what I needed, and I asked them for it, and they guided it right to me. And now, to prove that that was a huge impact on why it happened the way it did, I'm doing it again. And I'm going to do it again and again and again. And I don't care if I have 15 of them. There should be a person there, so anybody should be able to call this person and get an Ascension mat of themselves, and they can do their own healing right then and there. Or they can have someone else do it. But they should have access to it. It should be just for a few select in the knowing. You know, the people that decline it in some of my sessions because it's the money thing, I buy it for them. I don't care. It's so important to have that in there. I believe that. For them, because you get to see the progress. Especially if you have a person that's having a terrible time in this life, or they're really distant, or people say, well, that person's not the same person no more. They changed about 10 years ago. We don't even recognize them. There's other things going on there, and they could be the ET abductions, and that's happening on a large scale also. They're putting these little energetic implants and physical implants in people, and the frequencies that I was explaining to you about as they come down, they go right into that implant, and what they do is they take that implant, because the ETs that are here, so there's plenty of them that are here against the universal laws. They're not supposed to be here. Well, when they come in here and they're not supposed to be here, apparently they don't get those frequencies to them, because we have a signature. We have a signature in us that says that yes, we're supposed to be here. They know right where we are. We're going to get those frequencies based on who we are. That's how they know. The frequencies know where we are and follow us everywhere we go. Those ETs that are here that aren't supposed to be here, they don't have those. They don't have that signature because they're not supposed to be here. So what they do is they put these implants into people, and as the frequencies come down to them, they reroute it and they shoot it over to the ET. So the ET gets it. So I thought it was very interesting when they started spelling that out, how they do that and why they do that. So they want to know what's going on because they're still under this control thing. They want to keep everybody controlled.
Yeah.
That's all it was. It's all, everything is about control. Control the masses. So that's gone by the wayside. And I can tell you, I am putting together a package of photos of the reflections that I'm catching in the ultraviolet light that is reflecting the memory that is still in the energy out there right now, and exactly how close we are and what's happening in our new dimension, in that other energetic dimension. It's here. It's all around us.
All around, yeah.
The clouds above your cities and skies are not what you think they are. I have a picture of one. I laughed so hard, you guys. I couldn't believe it. It was so fake. And it was a ship. It was a big, it was like a city. It was that big. But this cloud, this white fog cloud stuff that they put on the ship, it looked like cotton. It was so fake, terrible looking. And then through the cot were these big chunks of metal. I'm like, well, okay, what's all these chunks of metal and these blades and these propellers doing down below that? And why are these vents protruding through all this cotton? It was the funniest thing I ever seen. So I put pictures together for people to see because I wasn't sure if that's what was happening, but I got a phone call one day. It was Jacqueline from the QHHT headquarters in Arkansas, and they asked if they had a very interesting client come in. They asked if I go down there and give him a session. I said, sure. I went down there, come to find out, because he's been had a terrible time. He's been isolated, and come to find out, he is running one of the largest spaceship stations for the New Earth, and he has to go to special places. They got to take him actually out of this area in order to give him his downloads and his information, because if they don't want him to get hijacked. So he gets his information. We get ours in frequencies. He gets his that actually come in through his body all at once, through his eyes and through his ears. And he was explaining what happens. And I said, so what are you making up here in the space station? Shuttles, very large shuttles. And he explained how they were built and the way they were designed, where the logo is, and how they operate, how many people they can be on there. And it's to take the people that come in the mass droves to this new Earth. I don't know what's going on with the gravity, but apparently they're taking shuttles, and they fill these shuttles up with people. And so they move large amounts of people around. And when I was up there, when I was up photographing and the light spectrums were just right and everything was set up, I went ahead and I did a whole different array of density of clouds. And sure enough, there they were. I couldn't believe it. Exactly what he explained. He even drew it for me.
Wow.
He drew it for me. And I seen the exact same thing in real physicality that was expressed through the energy in that space wherever they're residing. So all of this stuff with this new Earth, it's all being formed above us. I'd say about 800 to 1,000 feet above our heads. That's why those low flying big clouds are there. Mm-hmm. So you can see it. Anybody can do it. It works the best with an iPhone. You got to have the sun in the background. So you want the cloud, and the sun behind it. Take a whole bunch of photos of that. The moment you slide up and you zoom in as far as you can, and then go ahead and change the side selector in that picture, everything changes. What's really there in that energy opens up, switches over, and you see everything happening. All the different spaceships, the different types of the laser beams that are on top of these fighter UFOs and these fighter crafts, and all the different types of beings that are together working in harmony, all different races. There's giants in there, you name it.
Wow.
Yeah. Just phenomenal. So I am putting that package together, those photos, and I'll release those.
Okay. All right. And we'll have a link in the description for that. And Tracie, did you have anything else? Any other questions? Or I think that was we went over a lot of stuff.
That was a lot of information. It's wonderful information. You know, I've been doing a lot of the photography as well, and I've had experiences where, and this might be something for people to pay attention to as well, is go outside. One of the times I went outside, it actually felt like I was like there was a roof over me, even though I'm outside and it's the sky. Pay attention to how you're feeling when you're outside, because it's not always the sky that we're seeing. And you can, we're intuitive. We can feel the energy of
Absolutely.
Whatever's up there above us. And
you can cross right through that density.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's lots to be experienced. We just have to know what we're looking for, or be open to it and take the limits off of it. Let go of those old belief systems.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For your pictures, I noticed you post them on Instagram. Is it okay to share your pictures?
Always, yeah.
On Instagram?
Yeah.
So check them out. She takes these beautiful pictures of the sky, and you can see the blues and all the colors. So
yeah, some of them I play with the contrast so you can see what Dean's talking about. But yeah, there's one that I have on. I think this one's from Instagram as well. That's I took yesterday. That it's the moon that's in the sky, but I played with the contrast with it. And what I do with that is so that you can see, like Dean was saying, when the light comes from behind, you see way more when you're playing with the contrast, and you can almost see an outline of a body there. Now, I don't post that in the picture. I just wait for people to see it.
You can see that energy. You can tell that energy is it's like there's a force, one of those force field shields there, and it's all different. And yeah, it doesn't have the same energy. It doesn't have the same structure. Nothing.
Yeah, it's amazing what playing with contrast. You see so much more of the energy that's actually coming through than what our eyes will see or catch. And what I believe that's doing is just helping us train our eyes to catch that, and to start understanding that there's more to see than what our physical eye is catching. And these digital cameras, these phones that we have, are just making a lot more things possible for us to awaken, because it is capturing it, and it's helping us to see there's there is stuff there. And I'm not just saying to trust, playing with the contrast. I'm saying tune in, tap into that, because we are very intuitive beings. We are energy in a physical body. And so when we take that energy and we connect it with the energy around us, you're going to start experiencing a lot more things. And
Absolutely.
You're going to understand that this planet we live on is alive, and there's a lot that it can offer us as that living vehicle that we are all playing on. So yeah, lots of good stuff to experience.
Yep.
That's why my motto this year is the magic is real, because there's so much going on out there. And
Hashtag the magic is real.
Magic is real.
And when they say, you've heard them also talk about everything is consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And now is the first time, I think, in our existence ever here on Earth where you can actually go out and prove that. Every single little grove of trees, grove of bushes, you'll see that consciousness for that express themselves in whatever human form they used to be in at that time. It gets expressed in there, and you'll see who they are. Trees, rocks, even snow. It doesn't matter. And that's what I think is happening, is when you take that, you can see that picture developing. I think there's a connection between the energy for that, the memory in that soul when they were a human being, and now they're actually consciousness for be a grove of trees. They used to be that, and I think what's happening is they're actually trying to make fun of us. I think they're saying, "Hey, you guys, are you really that dense? You don't think we're real? You don't think we're here? You don't think we're alive? You guys just keep going ahead and acting like nothing else is alive or real except for you guys. And you're in this, everything is alive. Everything is alive." And I never realized that until about 4 months ago. I mean, it's really alive. Really
alive. And it's fun when you learn that you can move your energy into, all these other energies. You can experience anything. You can fly, like you can move yourself into being the hawk or the bird or whatever, and see through their eyes and experience the flying, and move your energy into being a rock. You can move your energy into being a tree, the water, the air.
Absolutely.
I had a client be the air, and it was such an amazing session to listen to them tell their experience of being air. And how they could feel the vibration of everything going on. And so, yeah, there's so many incredible experiences out there that we can have that, it's open to us. It's there. So,
yeah. Well, I know it's getting late, so I know there's been a lot of information, but to be continued, I'm hoping.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Because I know that we talked about a lot of stuff, and I know we could probably talk for another couple hours easy. So, and I know Tracie has a couple of things to do.
I do.
So is there anything else? Any other questions? I think that's pretty much it.
Well, yeah. I just think to add to this for anybody out there, just one little thing is this, is that, well, we really are here to manipulate energy, okay? And I've lost sight of the need for the word perception, and everything now is perspective. And that's what I've been told over this last month. And because everything that you're looking for is already here. And everyone's going to wake up one day and realize that's true, that you are already manifesting everything that you want. So if you want to change your life, go ahead. You have to start looking for the things that you want in your life, and it's going to happen instantly. And that was one of these things, is I was looking down low for all this stuff. So I turned my attention around and I said, okay, I'm going to start looking up. And that's why I got into the clouds. So, and it was true, because the subconscious came through and said that you're looking for the wrong things, basically. Change your perspective. And it was coming through, the signs were coming through on everything. Change your perspective. Because everything that you're looking for is already here. And if it wasn't, you wouldn't be able to create it in your mind. So everything that you can possibly create in your mind that you want in your life is already here. All you have to do now is just set your intention for that and go look for that. Stop looking for the things you don't want. Start looking for the things that you do want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I shifted my life.
Nice, nice. Well said. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dean, for having this video collaboration. Thank you, Tracie, for everything.
Yeah.
Thank
It's been
you.
wonderful again.
So,
yeah.
All right. Till next time, I want you to have a great weekend. Take care and create some magical things.
Yes, the magic is real.
Yes, it is.
Thank you, Jason, for having us.
Oh, anytime, anytime.
Oh, a pleasure with you too, Tracie. I always enjoyed speaking with you.
Yes, it's been fun. Thank you, Dean.
All right. Till next time.
Till next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.